Hello, hello. We are officially in day 13 of 90. We are just making our way. Today, we are going to get on the same page around dates. The IRS recently um, notified everyone of when they are officially open for the 2026 filing season, which is for taxes for 2025. Um, my name is Jennifer Drew, and I am the founder and CEO of Hair CEO. We are a business advisory and accounting firm specializing in helping self employed hair professionals and hair business owners run legitimate, bankable, and profitable businesses. We do this through coaching, accounting, and tax services. And so we are in this series called 2026 Tax Talk. And so, again, like I mentioned today, I really want to talk about some dates. So, the IRS officially announced that they are opening for eFile for 2026 filing season Monday, January 26th. And that's just a little shy of 2 weeks from today. So, yeah, it's coming up quickly. And a lot of people are actually confused about, when you can actually file and deadlines. And so I just want everyone of, if you're self-employed, I mean, yes, I want everyone to know, but of course, my hair professionals and my salon and barbershop owners, spa owners, things like that. I really want you guys to be aware of what these dates mean and what to look out for. So the first one is January 26th. So we have 1, 26, 20, 26. I just realized 26 and 26. That's kind of cool. All right, so this is when eFile opens. Very important here because a lot of people think that the IRS accepts taxes like all the time. And so there is a small window. It's not very long, but there is a small window when like eFile literally just shuts down. And in 2025, it was actually really late because of the government shutdown. And so the IRS actually kept the window open like for a very long time. I would say like a month after they normally do. I think in prior years, IRS has like shut down late November, like maybe right before Thanksgiving or maybe right after Thanksgiving. But this year it shut down, I want to say it was December 26th. So super late. Um, and I know for a few of our clients, we were filing tax returns all the way up until December 22nd. Like it was crazy. But a lot of people always surprised, like, wait a minute, it's December. Like I thought you had until April 15th, and then after April, you just couldn't file anymore. But no, I mean, not that you want to wait that long, but you can. It's not recommended, of course. But yes, January 26th is the date that it officially opens. So what this means for you is that you cannot submit anything just yet. So if you're working with a tax firm, like I know for us, we have our prior clients and new clients who are working with us, they have already, reserved their spot. So they're secure, but literally there's nothing for us to do right now. You know, we can have everything all together, but we can't submit anything to the IRS because they're not accepting anything. They're closed right now. But because of those people who have already signed up and they've already got their 2025 information all together, once we have everything ready on the 26th, as soon as it opens, we'll be able to file those tax returns. So nothing can go out before the 26th. And that's wherever you go. That's if you're working with a retail box like H&R Block, or what's the other one, Liberty Taxes, or if you're doing TurboTax, or again if you're working with us. So January 26th. The second date that I really want to break down is one that everyone knows, right? I'm actually going to write this one out. So April 15th. Like everyone knows this date, right? But this date actually has different meanings, honestly. So I really want you to understand all of the things that kind of go into this April 15th deadline. Um, the first thing is, of course, this is the deadline to submit, right? So deadline to submit. Now, this is submitting on time, right? So April 15th is when, if you're filing for 2025, then April 15th, 2026 is the deadline for them, for the IRS to say, okay, you have filed on time. And of course, anywhere from January 26th through April 15th is when you can file a timely tax return for 2025. Now, April 15th is also the deadline to submit for an extension. So, um, deadline to request extension. So I want to stop here for a second because April 15th, it is the deadline to request an extension, but I want you to understand what that means. It's just an extension to file. It's not an extension to wait to pay. So this April 15th is also, let me move this up a little bit. April 15th is also the deadline to pay, right? So submit, I'm gonna do deadline to file, just so that it's clear. So I think a lot of people misunderstand. So the 15th is the deadline to file. It's the deadline to request an extension if you're not going to submit like the full tax return on the 15th. And then it's also the deadline to pay. So if you have a tax bill when you get your taxes done, this is the date that you would have to pay by in order to stop a penalty of failure to pay. So this is that deadline as well. Now, one thing, I want to go back to deadline for extension. So deadline for extension, this is when you have to, submit a request to the IRS. After the 15th, it's just late. You cannot file an extension after that. But if you are working with a tax firm, the April 15th is not the deadline to let them know. You don't want to reach out to your tax professional, the tax firm that you're working with, on April 15th saying, oh, yeah, can you file an extension for me? It's not the best time because you don't know if they're going to get to you. April 15th is a crazy day for any tax firm. Well, most tax firms. I don't want to speak for all, but for most tax firms, it's a really busy day. And so you don't want to risk saying, oh, well, I emailed you or I told you that, I wanted an extension. You're playing with fire at that point because some things can go wrong. Like there's still information that has to be submitted on your behalf. So, if anything were to go wrong, like it got rejected for any reason that could have been corrected, now you risk that tax return not being extended properly because you waited until the last minute. So I would suggest that you reach out to, if you're working with a tax firm, I would request that up front. If you know that you're going to need extra time after April 15th to file that tax return, then you want to reach out very, soon after working with them and ask them what is their process for filing an extension, the deadline for them internally. So that's something that we communicate to our clients when they work with us. We know that there is a deadline for our extension requests. So very, very important to understand. Now, when you do file this extension, that grants you an automatic 6-month extension. And then you have that updated deadline of October 15th. And so, again, that is an extension to file, not an extension to pay. Those interest rates and that penalty kicks in if you do not pay by that April 15th. And then the other thing I wanted to go over is refunds, right? And you might be thinking, well, how do I get a refund if I am self-employed? People do get refunds if you're self-employed. Now, if you are getting a refund, some ways in which you might qualify for a refund: one, you might have overpaid. If you are making estimated tax payments, then there is a possibility that you could have paid too much and then you're due a refund. And then we have some people who maybe they didn't even make any estimated tax payments, but they have qualified for certain credits that entitle them to a refund. And that is very possible too. We work with a lot of self-employed hair professionals and barbershop owners, salon owners that, not that I'm not recommending this, but maybe they have not paid any estimated taxes, but they still get refunds. So it is possible. But it just depends on your unique situation, and you need to make sure that you're, talking with a licensed tax professional to get, information for your unique situation. But it is possible. And when it comes to refunds, of course, the earlier that you file your tax return, the quicker you're able to get your refund. And if you are due a refund, I would say the timelines, I've seen this get quicker over the years. But the best way to figure out when you're going to get your refund is to use the IRS Where's My Refund link. I'm going to leave it in the description, because on their website, they say that they will update that website within 24 hours after after the tax return has been submitted. That's for electronic filings. So, yeah, so that's definitely going to be your best bet, because if you're working with a tax professional, they're not going to know when you're going to get your refund. So that's not the person you want to ask. You do not want to ask the person who filed your tax return. So, like, if you're working with us at Hair CEO, you're not going to want to call our office to say, hey, when am I going to get my refund? Because we're going to direct you to that same website that's right now in the description. It is, it's the best way to figure out where your refund is. Now, if the refund is getting caught up for some reason, then that might be a reason to call your tax professional or to confirm, information. But for the most part, you're going to want to start with that website. And last year, I want to say I saw people get refunds as quick as 7 days. So I would say between 7 and 14 days is when I was seeing people get their refunds from the IRS. Now, that's one thing to understand. That is with the IRS. The states, completely different. They have different timelines, and every state is different. Some states are better than others. But yeah, it just really depends on what state you live in and their processing times. So let's see. So these dates, sometimes like this April 15th, sometimes you'll see years where it'll move up a day just because it falls like on a weekend. But I want to say this year, let me check, because I haven't even checked to see when April falls. So this year, April 15th actually falls on a Wednesday. So it's definitely April 15th. So if you are a, self-employed hair professional or a hair business owner and you want help filing your taxes for 2025 or maybe a prior year, then I want to invite you to click the link down below as well, and talk to myself or someone from my team about getting help with your taxes. Or if you're just ready to get your business organized in 2026, it might be a good opportunity to start monthly accounting where you're having someone track your income, track your expenses, alert you to how much you need to pay in estimated tax payments, reminding you to make those tax payments. You may sell products and you may need help with submitting sales tax reports and payments during the year. There's so many benefits. And then let's not even get on having proper financial statements like your profit and loss, your balance sheet. If you're looking to get funding or become more bankable for your business, then these are things that the lenders and banks are going to want to see that you are operating a legit business if you want to be bankable in 2026. So I would say reach out so that we can help you get that going for 2026. And yeah, that is today. We will be back tomorrow, same time for day 14. And if you're new to this live or replay, I'm doing 90 days of live tax talk just to jumpstart the season. And let me know if you have questions, even if you're watching this on the replay, if you have questions and different topics that you want me to talk about. I know for the month of February, I'm going to be diving deep into the One Big Beautiful Bill and how it impacts self-employed hair professionals. So I'm leaving that for when we get into February, just because we'll be closer to the time when people are really filing and looking for those answers. All right. So my name is Jennifer, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow on the next live.